శ్రీ ముత్తవరపు వెంకటేశ్వరరావు కాలేజ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ అండ్ టెక్నాలజీ 2008 లో స్థాపించిన కళాశాలలో MBA, NAC A గ్రేడ్ మరియు ISO సర్టిఫికేషన్ సాధించిన మొట్టమొదటి కళాశాల శ్రీ ముత్తవరపు వెంకటేశ్వరరావు కాలేజ్ ఆఫ్ ఇంజనీరింగ్ అండ్ టెక్నాలజీ.
Welcome to MVR College of Engineering and Technology. Okay, one of the suggestion from me as a faculty HOD from Department of Computer Science Engineering, not only CSE, all the department students. Okay, make videos of duration at least 5 minutes. Okay, what videos we will make? ఏ వీడియోస్ తయారు చేయాలి, ఏ సబ్జెక్ట్ అయినా తయారు చేయొచ్చు. మీకు నచ్చిన సి ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ అయితే సి ప్రోగ్రామింగ్, మ్యాథమెటిక్స్ లేదన్న ఒక డెఫినేషన్ తీసుకుంటే ఒక డెఫినేషన్, నాట్ మోర్ దాన్ 30 minutes 40 minutes లైక్ ఏ లెక్చరర్, జస్ట్ 5 minutes వీడియో ఆర్ ఎనీథింగ్ వాట్ ఎవర్ యూ విష్. ఓకే, మేక్ ఏ వీడియో ఆఫ్ 5 minutes. మీరు కనుక 5 minutes వీడియో తయారు చేయలేకపోతున్నాను అంటే కనుక 3 reasons ఉంటాయి. ఏంటి? ఫస్ట్ రీజన్ ఏంటంటే మీరు చాలా బిజీగా ఉన్నారు. ఓకే, చాలా బిజీ, మీకు వీడియోస్ చేసే టైం కూడా లేదు. ఓకే, పద్దాక ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసులు 24 hours ఆన్లైన్ క్లాసెస్ వింటూ ఉన్నారు, ఇంకో వర్క్ చూస్తూ ఉన్నారు, ఇంకోటి చేస్తూ ఉన్నారు. ఓకే, చాలా బిజీ. ఎంత బిజీగా ఉన్నా సరే రేపు ఇంటర్వ్యూకి మీరు కనుక ఇప్పటి నుంచి కనుక ఇది అలవాటు చేసుకుంటే, ఓకే, చిన్న వీడియోస్ చేసి యూట్యూబ్లో మీ ఛానల్లో పోస్ట్ చేయడం అలవాటు చేస్తే కనుక రేపు మీరు కనుక ఇంటర్వ్యూకి వెళ్తే కనుక మీకంటే ముందు మీరు చేసిన వీడియోసే ఎక్కువ మాట్లాడతాయి. ఓకే, they will recognize he is a person so and so doing this work, like that they will recognize these videos. Okay, first, okay, your identity will be increased whenever if you go outside means others will see means they will easily identify you. Just your recognition will be more if you prepare. This is not a part of your job, this is a part of your life. Okay, making this one as part of your life. Second one, ఓకే, నాకు చేయాలని ఉంది, వీడియో చేయాలనే ఉంది. ఓకే, నాకు దగ్గర టాపిక్ ఉంది, మంచి కాంటెంట్ ఉంది, కానీ నేను చేయటానికి రీసోర్సెస్ లేవు. ఐ డోంట్ నో హౌ టు ప్రిపేర్. సెకండ్ రీజన్, నాకు ఎలా ప్రిపేర్ చేయాలో తెలియదు. పుట్టిన ప్రతి బేబీకి ఫస్ట్లోనే వీడియో ఎలా తయారు చేయాలనే రాదు. జస్ట్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎ లెర్నబుల్ స్కిల్. జస్ట్ ఇఫ్ యూ లెర్న్ 2 or 3 days, you can easily know what softwares you are using. In YouTube also how to make videos means number of channels is there. Okay, just it is a learnable skill. If you learn 2 or 3 days means, okay, you will acquire this skill. Okay, how to prepare videos. Next, third one, videos చేయలేకపోవటానికి కారణం ఏంటంటే, నెక్స్ట్ థర్డ్ రీజన్ బద్ధకం. నాకెందుకులే, ఏదో ఒకటి చూద్దాం, ఈరోజు గడిస్తే చాలు, జస్ట్ లేజినెస్. ఓకే, if you overcome these 3 problems, you can easily make videos. Okay, if you prepare videos of a 5 minutes duration or any topic, if you forward those videos to your HOD means we will arrange that video can be played during the lectures at the time of online classes. Okay, I am expecting at least some of you may prepare videos concerned your subjects or anything, any others or any innovative things, and send to your HOD. Not only HOD, in post in your YouTube channel, give that link to HOD. HOD will take live stream to all other students of our college or your branch basing on the type of your video. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.
Good morning all. In our last sessions already I have seen the FMCW radar. So what is the differences between FM and the CW radar, and what are the minimum requirements to both FMCW radar in a proper way? Now we will go with FMCW radar altimeter, which works on the principle of the Doppler effect. Now let us see how FMCW radar works. The FMCW radar principle is used in the aircraft radio altimeter to measure the height above the surface of the air. So that is what the first we need to consider. We need to consider the height of the aircraft or the aeroplane which is flying above the earth. So we want to measure the height of that aircraft. So there we need to use the FM altimeter. The larger backscatter cross sections and the relatively short range requires of altimeter permits low transmit power and low antenna gain. Since the relative motion between the aircraft and ground is small, the effect of the Doppler frequency shift may be usually neglected. The band from 4.2 to 4.4 GHz is reserved for radio altimeter. Although they have in the past operated in UHF. The transmitter power is relatively low and can be obtained from a CW magnetron. Magnetron already have discussed in our last classes. A backward wave oscillator or a reflex crystal. But these have been replaced by the solid state transmitter. The altimeter can employ a simple hydrogen receiver, but for a better sensitivity and the stability of the superheterodyne is to be preferred. Whenever it is more complex construction and be tolerated. The block diagram of FMCW radar is as shown in the figure, which contains with the superheterodyne receiver as shown in the screen. The selection of the local oscillator frequency is a bit different from that in the usual superheterodyne receiver. The local oscillator frequency, that is FIF, FIF is supposed to be intermediate frequency, should be the same as the intermediate frequency used in the receiver. Whereas in the conventional superheterodyne, the local oscillator is of the same order of magnitude as the RF signal. The output of the mixer consists of the varying transmitter frequency F0 of t plus two sideband frequencies, one on either side, that is F0 of t and separated from F0 of t by the local oscillator frequency. Now, if you observe the block diagram, there we have seen it contains FM transmitter, it contains a mixer as well as a sideband filters. Along with that, we need to use a modulator. The modulator is supposed to be give you the transmitted energy which is required, which is to be transmitted into the air, and after that we use a receiver. So this receiver is separated from the transmitter. So in the FM altimeter we are using two antennas. That is FMC, the antennas which are preferred, which is used one as a transmitter and another one which is used as an receiver. Right. So that is we are using two different antennas for one application. That is supposed to be one antenna for transmission and one antenna for the receiver. So the filter select the lower sideband F0 of t and minus FIF and rejects the carrier and the upper sideband. The sideband that is passed by the filter is modulated in the same fashion as a transmitted signal. The sideband filter must have sufficient bandwidth to pass the modulation, but not the carrier or other sideband. The filtered sideband serves the function of the local oscillator. When an echo signal is present, the output of the receiver mixer is an IF signal of the frequency FIF plus FB, whereas FB is composed of a range of frequency of FR and the Doppler velocity frequency, that is FB. The IF signal is employed and applied to the balanced detector along with the local oscillator FIF. The output of the detector contains the beat frequency. So beat frequency is nothing but what the range of frequency and the Doppler velocity frequency. It is amplified to a level where it can be fed to the frequency measuring circuit. The output of the low frequency amplifier is divided into two channels. One feeds an average frequency counter to determine the range. The other feed is switched to frequency counter to determine the Doppler velocity. So in order to measure here, we are measuring the Doppler velocity which is greater than the reference frequency. Only the averaging frequency counter needed be used in altimeter applications. Since the rate of change of altitude is usually small, so we need to use the frequency, higher frequencies. A target at a short range will generally results in a strong signal at low frequencies, while one at long range will result in weak signal at higher frequency. Therefore, the frequency characteristics of the low frequency amplifier in FMCW radar may be shaped to provide attenuation at the low frequency corresponding to the short ranges and large echo signals. Less attenuation is applied to the higher frequencies where the echo signals are weak. The echo signal from an isolated target varies inversely as fourth power of the range, as is well known from the radar equation already we have seen in the last classes. With this as a criterion, the gain of the low frequency amplifier should be made to increase at the rate of 1 dB. The output of the amplifier then be independent of the range of our constant target cross section. Amplifier responses shaping is similar in the function to sensitive time control, that is STC employed in the conventional pulse radar. However, in the altimeter, the echo signal from an extended target, such as the ground, varies inversely as square of the range. Since greater the range, the greater the echo area eliminated by the beam. For extended targets, that is the targets which are very far away, the low frequency amplifier gain should increase by 6 dB. A compromise between the isolated and the extended targets echoes might be a characteristic with a slope of 9 dB per octave. The constant output produced by the shaping the Doppler frequency characteristic is not only helpful in lowering the dynamic range requirements of the frequency measuring device, but the attenuation of the low frequency effects a reduction of low frequency interference. Lower gain at a low altitude also helps to reduce interference from unwanted reflections. The response at the upper end of the frequency characteristics is reduced for the frequencies beyond that corresponding maximum range. If there is a minimum target range, the response is also cut off at the low frequency to further reduce the extensive noise entering the receiver. Another method for processing the range of height information from an altimeter so as to reduce the noise output from the receiver and improve the sensitivity uses a narrow bandwidth low frequency amplifier with a feedback loop to maintain the beat frequency constant. When a fixed frequency excursion is used, as in the usual altimeter, the beat frequency can vary over a considerable range of the values. The low frequency amplifier band width must be sufficiently wide to encompass the expected range of the beat frequencies. Since the bandwidth is broader than need to be past the signal energy, the signal to noise ratio is reduced and the receiver sensitivity degraded. Instead of maintaining the frequency excursion, frequency is constant, the beat frequency amplifier need only be wide enough to pass the receiver signal energy, thus reducing the amount of noise with which the signal must compete. The frequency excursion is maintained by servo mechanism to the value which permits the beat frequency to fall within the passband of the narrowband filter. The value of the frequency excursion is then a measure of the altitude and maybe substituted in the equation which we have discussed in the last classes. When used in FM altimeter, the technique of servo controlling the frequency excursion is usually employed at all altitudes above the predetermined minimum. Since the frequency dispersion is inversely proportional to the range, the radar is better operated at very low altitudes in the more normal manner with a fixed change in frequency and hence varying a beat frequency. So this is how the FMCW altimeter is used. So by using the FMCW altimeter, so we can measure the height as well as the velocity at which the targets are moving. Now we are going into the measurement of error. So error is nothing but the difference between the actual value and whatever the value which we have calculated. So that is the difference between error. So normally in any system, the error should be minimum. We cannot say the error should be 0. So without error, there will be no system works. So preferably we will minimize the errors which are in possible ways. The absolute accuracy of the radar altimeter is usually of more importance at lower altitudes than at the higher altitudes. Errors of a few meters might not be significant when crossing the altitudes of 10 kilometers, but are important if the altimeter is a part of a blind handling system. The theoretical accuracy with which distance can be measured depends upon the bandwidth of the transmitter signal and the ratio of the signal energy to noise energy. In addition, measurement accuracy might be limited by such practical restrictions as the accuracy of the frequency measuring device, the residual path length error caused by the circuits, and transmission lines errors caused by the multiple reflections and transmitter leakage, and the frequency error due to the turn around of the frequency modulation. A common form of frequency measuring device is the cyclic code, which measures the number of cycles or half cycles of the beat during the modulation period. The total cycle count is a discrete number since the counter is unable to measure fractions of cycle. The distinctness of the frequency measurement gives an error called a fixed error, or it is also known as a step error. It also been called as a quantization error. A more descriptive, already we have seen this quantization error in digital communication and analog communications. The average number of cycles that is supposed to be n, we are considering that value as n, of the beat frequency fb in one period of the modulation cycle. That can be written as, so r is equals to the change in the number of frequencies divided by 4 into the change in frequency. There we need to consider r as range and c is nothing but the velocity of the propagation and delta f is the frequency. Since the fixed error is due to the discrete nature of the frequency counter, its effects can be reduced by moving the modulation frequency or the phase of the transmitter output. The modulation frequency was varied at a 10 GHz rate, causing the phase shift or the beat signal to vary cylindrically with time. The indicating system was designed so that it did not respond to the frequencies of 10 GHz modulation directly, but it caused the fixed error to be averaged. Normal fluctuations in aircraft altitude due to uneven terrain, waves on the water or turbulence in the air can also average out the fixed error provided the same time constant of indicating the device is large compared with the time between the fluctuations. Over speed terrain, that is what the smooth areas, the fixed error might not be averaged out. Other errors such as, which can be disclosed in the previous, other errors might be introduced in CW radar if there are uncontrolled variations in the transmitter frequency. Target motion can cause an error in the radar range equation, whereas the velocity reference velocity is the relative velocity and T naught is the observation time. Multiple path signals also produce errors and shows some of the unwanted signals that might occur in FM altimeter. The unwanted signal is shown by the solid line, while the unwanted signals are shown in broken lines. So that is the unwanted signals. Maybe it includes the first one, a reflection of the transmitter signals at the antenna caused by the impedance mismatch. Second one, the standing wave patterns on the cable feeding the reference signal to the receiver due to poor mixer match. The leakage signal entering the receiver via coupling between the transmitter and the receiver. And fourth one, the interference due to power being reflected back to the transmitter, causing a change in the impedance seen by the transmitter. This is usually important only at the lower altitudes. It can be reduced by an attenuator infusing in the transmission line at the low altitude or by a direction coupler or an isolator. So fifth one is supposed to be the double bowl system. Reflections from landing gear can also cause as errors. So in that, the first one is supposed to be the errors maybe from the transmitter. So that is the error is supposed to be first of all considered the leakages from the transmitter. The sensitivity of the FM-CW radar is limited by the noise accompanying the transmitter signal, which leaks into the receiver. Although advances have been made in reducing the AM and FM noise generated by the high-power CW transmitter, the noise is usually sufficient magnitude compared with the echo signal to require the means of minimizing the leakage that finds way into the receiver. The techniques described previously for reducing leakage in the CW radar is applied equally well to FM CW radar. Separate antennas and direct cancellation of the leakage signal are the two techniques which gives the considerable isolation. So next one is supposed to be sinusoidal modulation error. The ability of the FM-CW radar to measure range provides an additional basis for obtaining isolation. Echoes from the short-range targets, including the leakage signal, may be attenuated relative to the desired target echo from the longer ranges by the properly processing the different frequency signal obtained by the heterodyning the transmitted and the receiver signal. If the CW carrier is frequency modulated by a sine wave, the difference between the frequency obtained by heterodyning the returned signal with a portion of the transmitted signal may be expanded in tetrametric series. And these are very difficult ways to explain in different types of errors. Next one is supposed to be patch filter detection. The operation of FM-CW radar described in our last sessions, right? The receiver is not designed as matched filter for the particular transmission wave. Therefore, for selectivity of the FM-CW receiver described here is degraded, and the ability to find out is degraded. The ability to operate with multiple targets is usually poor. For a radio altimeter whose target is Earth, these limitations usually present no problem. When used for the long range detection of air targets, for example, the detection of the classical FM-CW radar will seriously hinder with its performance in the FM-CW radar in a manner while to calculate as per the duty cycle of an FM pulse compression waveform in the classes. So it becomes more like FM CW waveform is of the duty cycle. Maybe it can be calculated by the techniques which will be discussed in our next session. So now in this class already we learned how FM CW radar can be used as an altimeter and what are the errors which can be possible in radars during the measurement of the target. So in order to eliminate all these measurements and all these measurement errors, so we have some special techniques in order to minimize these errors. So this is the end of the session. By the next session, we will go with the multiple frequency CW radar. Thank you. Before going to start multiple frequency CW radar, so I forgot to give you how the importance of the Doppler frequency, Doppler effect. So once again, I'm repeating how the Doppler effect affects the operation of the FM CW radar. So already we know that the Doppler frequency is the measurement of the frequencies which is different from the echo signal as well as the transmitter signal. Right? It is well known that the observer or the oscillations are in motion and apparent shift in the frequency will be visible. So this is what the Doppler effect is. And this is the basic concept in CW radar. If R is the distance from the ratio of the target, the number of total wavelengths are supposed to be 2R divided by lambda. So for that, after that, we have calculated the frequency, the Doppler frequency that is supposed to be 2 into V suffix R, that is supposed to be relative velocity, and F naught, that is what the transmitted frequency, and C. So C is supposed to be the velocity of the dipole. So after that, the same operation is applied in CW radar. So there we have seen the block diagram already we have discussed earlier. Transmitter oscillations of frequency F naught, which is radiated by the antenna. A portion of the radiated energy is intercepted by the target and is scattered. In some part, it is direction of the radar, where it is collected by the receiving antenna. If the target is in the motion with the velocity of V suffix R, that is the relative velocity of the radar, the received signal will be shifted to the frequency from the transmitted frequency F naught, that is plus or minus FD. But the main important parameter is supposed to be plus or minus. Why I'm repeating again means the same formulas we will get in multiple frequency CW radar. So if we are well aware with these frequencies, so there will be no difficulty in understanding the multiple frequency radar. The main thing is the difference in the sign, plus or minus. The plus indicates the target is moving towards the radar system, that is the radar equipment. So minus indicates the target is moving away from the target system. So that is minus sign applies if the distance is increasing, whereas the plus sign applies when the distance is decreasing. And the purpose of the Doppler amplifier is to eliminate the echoes from the stationary targets and to amplify the Doppler echo signal to a level where it can operate an indicated device. So it might have a frequency response characteristic similar to CW radar. The low frequency cutoff might be high enough to result a DC component caused by the stationary targets, but it must be low enough to pass the smallest Doppler frequency expected. Sometimes both the conditions can be met simultaneously, but the upper cutoff frequency is selected to pass the higher Doppler frequency expected. The indicator might be a pair of earbuds or a frequency meter. The Doppler frequency can also be detected and measured by conventional frequency meters. An example of CW radar principle is, as we already discussed, it is used in Second World War. It may seem strange that audio proximity should be classified as a radar, and moderate amount of the leakage entering the receiver along with the echo signal supplies the reference necessary for the detection of the Doppler frequency shift. If a leakage signal of sufficient magnitude are not present, the sample of transmitter signal would have to be deliberately introduced into the receiver to provide the unnecessary, a necessary reference frequency. The amount of oscillation required depends on the transmitter power and accompanying the transmitter noise, as well as the selectivity, the sensitivity of the receiver. The transmitter noise of concern in Doppler radar includes that noise components that lie within the same frequency range as the Doppler frequency. The greater the desired radar range, the more string will be needed for reducing the noise for modulation accompanying the transmitting signal. Turning off the receiving during the transmission with a duplexer is not possible in CW radar since the transmitter is operated continuously. Isolation between the transmitter and the receiver might be obtained with a single antenna by using a hybrid junction. For Farad isolation devices such as circuitry can be used to achieve this, and the largest isolations are obtained with two antennas, so one for transmission as well as one for reception. It has been seen that the isolation between the two X-band horn antennas has some value which is increased to a normal value. So by using separate two antennas, a common system is used or a radar is used to for antenna should be avoided since it limits the amount of the isolation that can be achieved. So additional isolation can be obtained by properly introducing a controlled sample of the transmitter signal directly into the receiver. Phase and amplitude of its frequency are adjusted to cancel the portion of the transmitter signal that leaks into the receiver. So this is the brief introduction or brief about CW radar. If you are well aware with the CW radar, then we will go with the multiple FM CW radar. So there we will see what are the differences between FM CW radar and multiple CW radar. So we'll meet in the next session. Thank you.